Good morning children. In this video, we are going to cover some important topics in states of matter as well as in solutions. Okay, important topics we are going to cover. The first is about states of matter. You know very well, matter can be classified into 5 states. Okay, so what are the 5 states? You know very well, 3 states of matter you know very well, that is solid state, liquid state and gaseous state. Apart from that, okay, 2 more states are also there. One is the plasma state and another one is the Bose-Einstein condensate. Okay, one by one, each and every state it has some special characteristic properties, right? So now we are going to discuss about what are the special characteristics of different states of matter. First, let me discuss about the solid state. Okay, matter can be classified into 5 states. One is the solid state, liquid state, gaseous state, fourth one is the plasma state and the last one is the Bose-Einstein condensate. First, let me discuss about the solid state. What are the general properties of solid state? Solids have a definite shape and definite volume, right? Solids possess rigidity. Rigidity means what? Not able to bend. Okay, so solids possess rigidity. Hence, we cannot compress the solid because of this rigidity. Solids possess rigidity. Hence, cannot be compressed. Right? Solids have high density and also solids cannot flow or diffuse into each other. These are the special characteristic properties of solids. So what are the characteristic features of solids? Solids have definite shape and definite volume. Solids possess rigidity, hence solids cannot be compressed. Okay, solids cannot flow or diffuse into each other. Next one, solids have high density. So what's the second one? The second one is about liquid state, right? Liquids have definite volume, but liquids do not have definite shape. Okay, and liquids have lesser density. Okay, liquids have lesser density, and liquids flow from higher level to lower level, right? And the last one is liquids cannot be compressed much. These are the specific properties of liquids, right? What's the third one? The third one is about the gaseous state. Okay, gases are highly compressible. Okay, gases are highly compressible. Gases generally do not have definite shape and definite volume. Okay, and gases have very lesser density. That is very low density. Okay, gases flow. That is, gases can be compressed already I told you. So, gases can flow very easily and diffuse into each other. Okay, gases can spread easily, right? So, these are the some of the properties of gases, right? Next one, fourth state of matter. The fourth state of matter is the plasma state. Okay, the sun and the stars glow due to the presence of what? Right, due to the presence of plasma only. Plasma is the fourth state of matter. You can expect this question in the test. It's a very important question. Okay, the 3 states of matter you are very familiar with. The fourth state of matter is the plasma state, right? And the fifth one, last one is the Bose-Einstein condensate. The fifth state of matter is the Bose-Einstein condensate. Right, children? So, you have to mention the specific general properties of, you have to write the specific properties for the first 3 states of matter only, that is for solids, liquids as well as for gases. Okay, so general properties only you have to write, and for plasma as well as for Bose-Einstein condensate you have to mention which state of matter. Plasma is the 4th state of matter, Bose-Einstein condensate is the 5th state of matter. Like that you have to answer, right? So you move to the second one. Good. Second one is properties of particles decide the state of matter. Okay. What are the particles decide the state of matter? First one is intermolecular distance. Okay. Second one is the kinetic energy of the particle. First one is the intermolecular distance. Second one is the kinetic energy of the particle. These are some of the properties that decide the state of matter. Okay. So next one, what is meant by intermolecular force? Intermolecular force as well as types of intermolecular force also given. First, let me discuss about the intermolecular force. Intermolecular forces are the forces of attraction and repulsion between the interacting particles. Here, the interacting particles it mentions whether it may be atoms or molecules or ions. Okay. So, what is meant by intermolecular forces? Intermolecular forces are the forces of attraction and repulsion between the interacting particles. You have to mention the interacting particles in the bracket. Okay, atoms, molecules, ions. You have to mention it, right? Next one, types of intermolecular forces. Okay, there are three types of intermolecular forces. One is the London force. Second one is the dipole force, and third one is the hydrogen bonds. These three are the types of intermolecular forces. Got it? Right. Next one, London force. What is meant by London force? London forces form. Okay, London forces are the forces of attraction between the two temporary dipoles. This is known as the London force. Okay, London force are the forces of attraction between two temporary dipoles. This is called London force. Okay. Next one, thermal energy. Thermal energy is nothing but heat energy. So thermal energy is produced when an atoms or molecules move faster and they collide with each other. Okay. So the energy that comes from the temperature of the heated substance, this is called the thermal energy. Okay. So thermal energy is produced when an atom, when an increase in the temperature causes the atoms and molecules to move faster. Due to this movement, they collide with each other. Okay, they collide with each other. So the energy that comes from the temperature of the heated substance is called the thermal energy. Okay, so thermal energy always moves from warm to cool. That point you have to remember. Okay, thermal energy always moves from warm to cool. Got it? Right. Next one, measurable properties. What are the measurable properties? Generally, a gaseous state can be expressed in terms of four parameters. Parameters is nothing but the factors. Okay, a gaseous state can be expressed in four parameters. One is the volume, can be mentioned by V. Next one is temperature, T, and pressure, P, and last one is the number of moles of the gas. It can be represented as N. Okay, so what is meant by measurable property? A gaseous state can be expressed in terms of four parameters. What are the four parameters? Temperature, pressure, volume, and number of moles of the gas. These are called the measurable properties. Got it, children? Right. Next one, pressure. Generally, pressure is defined as force per unit area. Okay. So pressure is defined as force per unit area. So this is very important. Force per unit area. Pressure is defined as force per unit area. Next one, the gas laws. Okay. So in our book, actually four gas laws are given. One is Boyle's law, second one is Charles' law, third one is Gay-Lussac's law, and the last one is Avogadro's law. Okay, so these gas laws are very important. It shows a variation between the relationship between temperature and pressure, pressure and volume, like that. Okay, first let us discuss about the Boyle's law. Here it shows the relationship between pressure and volume. Okay, pressure and volume relationship. So this law, that is Boyle's law, it shows the relationship between pressure and volume. Okay, so Boyle's law states that at constant temperature, okay, at constant temperature, the pressure of a fixed amount of gas, okay, the pressure of the gas varies inversely with its volume. This is nothing but the Boyle's law. Okay, so Boyle's law states that at constant temperature, the pressure of a fixed amount of gas varies inversely with its volume. Okay, mathematically it can be expressed as P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2. Here you have to mention what is P, what is V. Here P mentions the pressure of the gas, whereas V mentions the volume of the gas. Okay, inside the bracket you have to mention the relationship also, pressure volume relationship. Okay, so this is the Boyle's law. Boyle's law states that at constant temperature, the pressure of a fixed amount of gas varies inversely with its volume. Okay, it can be expressed mathematically as P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2, where P is the pressure of the gas and V is the volume of the gas. Second one, we can move to Charles' law. So Charles' law shows the relationship between temperature and volume. Okay, so inside the bracket you have to mention T hyphen V. T is temperature and V is volume. So Charles' law states that at constant pressure, okay, at constant pressure, the volume of the gas or otherwise the temperature of the gas is directly proportional to the temperature. Okay, the volume of the gas is directly proportional to temperature, or otherwise we can say the temperature of the gas is directly proportional to the volume. This is nothing but the Charles' law. Okay, once again I repeat, Charles' law shows the relationship between temperature and volume. Charles' law states that at constant pressure, the volume of the gas is directly proportional to the temperature. Otherwise, the temperature of the gas is directly proportional to the volume. So it can be mathematically expressed as V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2. Here V mentions the volume of the gas, whereas T mentions the temperature of the gas. Got it, children? Shall we move to the third law? Yes, the third law is about the Gay-Lussac's law. Okay, so Gay-Lussac's law, it shows the relationship between pressure and temperature, PT. Okay, pressure and temperature. So Gay-Lussac's law states that at constant volume, okay, at constant volume, the pressure of the gas is directly proportional to the temperature of the gas. Okay, so Gay-Lussac's law states that at constant volume, the pressure of the gas is directly proportional to the temperature of the gas. So it can be mathematically expressed as P1 by T1 is equal to P2 by T2, where P is the pressure of the gas and T is the temperature of the gas. Got it, children? The last law is the Avogadro's law. So Avogadro's law states that equal volumes of all gases under the same conditions of temperature and pressure contains the equal number of molecules. Okay, once again I repeat, Avogadro's law states that equal volumes of all gases under the same, that is similar conditions of temperature and pressure contains the equal number of molecules. Okay, so it can be mathematically expressed as V1 by N1 is equal to V2 by N2. Here V mentions the volume of the gas, whereas N mentions the number of moles of the gas. Okay, here Avogadro's law shows the relationship between volume as well as amount of gas. Got it, children? Right. The next one about solutions. Okay. homogeneous mixture of two or more non-reacting substances. Okay, homogeneous means what? Uniformly gets distributed. Uniformly distributed. Okay. So what is meant by solution? A solution is a homogeneous mixture of two or more non-reacting substances. Got it? Right. So next one, binary solutions. What is meant by binary solution? A solution which contains two components or two ingredients are called binary solution. Okay. What is binary solution? A solution which contains two components or ingredients. That is, two ingredients or two components if a solution contains, then we can say it is a binary solution. Okay. What example we can do for binary solution? Salt in water, that is common salt in water, sugar in water. Here two components we are adding, isn't it? One is water, another one is common salt. So this is an example for binary solution. Got it, children? How many components present in binary solution? Right. The answer is 2. Next one, components. Okay, what are the components present in a solution? There are two components present in a solution. One is solute and another one is the solvent. What is the difference between solute and solvent? If you take the solute, the component or ingredient which is dissolved, it is called a solute. Okay, solute means what? The component or ingredient, both have same meaning only, which is dissolved in a solution is called the solute. Then what about solvent? Solvent means the medium in which the solute is dissolved. Okay, the medium in which the solute is dissolved is called the solvent. So what are the components? One is solute, another one is solvent. Solute means what? The component which is dissolved in the solution is called the solute. Whereas solvent means what? The medium in which the solute is dissolved in the solution is called the solvent. Got it? Next one, we can move to types of solutions. Okay. There are 3 types of solutions. One is the solid solutions, liquid solution, and last one is the gaseous solution. Okay. What are the types of solution? The 3 types of solution are solid solution, liquid solution as well as gaseous solution. In solid solution, the solvent is solid. Okay. In solvent solution, the solvent is solid, whereas in liquid solutions, the solvent is liquid, and for gaseous solutions, the solvent is gas. Okay. There are 3 types of solution. One is solid, another one is liquid, and the last one is gaseous solution. In solid solution, the solvent is solid. In liquid solution, the solvent is liquid, and in gaseous solution, the solvent is gases. Okay. Next one, aqueous and non-aqueous solution. What is aqueous solution and what is non-aqueous solution? The solution in which water acts as a solvent. It is called the aqueous solution. Okay. What is aqueous solution? The solution in which water acts as a solvent is called aqueous solution. Then what example we can give for aqueous solution? Common salt dissolved in water. Okay, here water acts as a solvent, isn't it? Next one, sugar dissolved in water. These are the examples for aqueous solution. Okay, so what are the examples for aqueous solution? Common salt in water as well as sugar in water. Aqueous solution means what? A solution in which water acts as a solvent is called aqueous solution. Got it? Then what is a non-aqueous solution? The solution in which any other liquid other than water acts as a solvent is called non-aqueous solution. Okay, I repeat again. Non-aqueous solution means the solution For example, phosphorus dissolved in ethyl alcohol, and then iodine dissolved in carbon tetrachloride. These are some of the examples for non-aqueous solution. Okay, for a solution, binary solution, aqueous solution, non-aqueous solution, for these type of solutions, minimum 2 examples you have to give. Okay. Next one, saturated and unsaturated solution. What is the difference between saturated solution and unsaturated solution? First, let me see the saturated solution. Saturated solution is a solution in which the solvent is not capable of dissolving more solute at a given temperature. Okay, if you add more solute in that solution, it will not get mixed. Okay, so that is called the saturated solution. Saturated solution means what? The solution in which a solvent is not capable of dissolving more solute. This line is very important. A solvent is not capable of dissolving more solute. Okay, no more solute at a given temperature. Then we can say it is a saturated solution. Then what is unsaturated solution? Here, the solution in which more solute can be dissolved at a given temperature. You can add more solute. Okay, if you add more solute in a particular solution, it will get mixed. Okay, so then it will come under the category of unsaturated solution. So unsaturated solution means the solution in which more solute can be dissolved. Okay, if you add more solute, definitely it will get dissolved at a given temperature. Then it is called unsaturated solution. Got it? Right. Next we can move to supersaturated solution. What is supersaturated solution? Generally, supersaturated solution contains large amount of solution with a larger proportion of solute. Okay, if larger proportion of solute is present in the given solution, then it will come under the category of supersaturated solution. Okay, once again I repeat, supersaturated solution contains large amount of solution with larger proportion of solute. This is known as supersaturated solution. What's the next one? The next one is about concentrated and dilute solution. Concentrated solution means the solution with larger proportion of solute. If solute content is more in the particular solution, then it will come under the category of concentrated solution. Okay, this is a concentrated solution. Concentrated solution means the solution with larger proportion of solute is called concentrated solution. Okay, for example, if you take hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid, without adding water in you take 2 beakers. In one beaker you add concentrated, that is, you add the hydrochloric acid. In another beaker you add some water, and then you add a little amount of hydrochloric acid. Then which one is the concentrated one and which one is the dilute solution? The first beaker, which we are adding the hydrochloric acid now without adding water, that is the concentrated solution. Why? Because the solution with larger proportion of solute is there. Whereas if we add water, then the proportion will be less. So we can say it is a dilute solution. Okay. So concentrated solution means the solution with a larger proportion of solute is called concentrated solution. Whereas dilute solution means the solution with lesser amount of solute, then it is called dilute solution. Okay, concentrated solution means more amount of solute, whereas dilute solution means lesser amount of solute. That's the difference between concentrated and dilute solution. Got it? The last one is about suspension. Okay, solvent. Okay. Heterogeneous mixture means what? It is not uniformly mixed. Okay. So heterogeneous mixture means heterogeneous mixture is a mixture in which the solute particles are spread throughout the solvent. For example, if you add some sand in water, it will not get mixed, isn't it? Because it's an example of heterogeneous solution. All the sand particles will spread throughout the solvent only, but it will not get mixed. It will not get dissolved. So it is an example of heterogeneous solution. Okay, it's an example of suspension. So suspension means is nothing but a heterogeneous mixture in which the solute particles are spread throughout the solvent. Okay, so this is called suspension. It's also one of the important 2-mark questions. Suspension means what? It's a heterogeneous mixture in which the solute particles are spread throughout the solvent. Okay, that is called suspension. So many things we discussed today in states of lesson as well as in solutions lesson, children. So all the things you go through, okay, all the definitions you learn, and also learn the different states of matter. Along with that, you have to give importance for the gas laws. Okay, the gas laws are very important. There is Boyle's law, Charles' law, Gay-Lussac's law, Avogadro's law. All the laws are very important. You can expect minimum 1 question from the laws. Okay, and you have to write the relationship also. Mathematically express the terms also you should write, and you have to mention what is P, what is V, what is T, volume, pressure, temperature, everything you have to mention. Okay, so go through